Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Rapidi's webinar about data integration. Today, we'll be diving into the world of maximizing business synergy and exploring the powerful integration between HubSpot and Microsoft Dynamics 365 ERP. I am Serene. I'm a sales consultant here at Rapidi, and I'm excited to be a host for today. And here with me, my esteemed colleague Andrea. Andrea is a data integration consultant, and she will guide you through the essential aspects of data integration in Rapidi innovative solution. So let's take a look at today's agenda. So first of all, we will start with an introduction to Rapidi so that you get to know who we are and what we do. Then we will discuss about the importance of integration. We will go through Rapidi integration solutions, and Andrea will also explain about HubSpot and MS Dynamics 365 ERP integration. I will tell you a little bit about some of our customer testimonials, and I will explain how you can get started with us. And in the end, we will have a Q&A session, so please feel free to write all of your questions and doubts in the chat. And of course, we'll go through them and give you the answers. So let's start with our first section about Rapidi. So Rapidi has over 50 years of data integration expertise. Our journey started back then when Microsoft was still called Navision. It was a small group back then, and our CEO and founder of Rapidi was part of that group. And Michael is still playing an important role at Rapidi today. We specialize in data integration solutions for some of the major players in the tech world, such as Salesforce, Microsoft, HubSpot, and more, of course, but we can still integrate any variety of other solutions to meet your unique business needs. What's setting us apart in Rapidi is our flexible, simple, and robust complete solution. We are using the cutting-edge cloud technology that requires no programming at all, which makes it really easy to everyone. Our worldwide customers are evaluating us with the highest rate, as they are really satisfied about Rapidi solution, service, and support, of course. And at Rapidi, we believe that we do not only integrate data, but we also integrate success. And now I would like to hand over to Andrea. Andrea will delve into the importance of integration, and she will explain how Rapidi can ensure a seamless, efficient integration. Andrea, over to you.
Perfect, thank you. So we will start with the first section, which is about the importance of integration. So from our perspective, we think that the integration should be simple, straightforward, so it should not give you any type of headaches. And speaking of that, why do we need to integrate in general? So first of all, as you see here on the screen, there are 4 buckets. So when you integrate to systems, then you get to have collaboration, which means that you activate data that you currently have in the system. You have this customer full overview. And then, of course, you enable your teams to collaborate more and better. The second bucket is about efficiency. And this is really important. And I think this is something that matters for any company. First of all, when you integrate to systems, you really don't have double data entries, right? So then you don't have to switch between systems, and then you eliminate rework. And in the end, you have this full process automation. Then the third bucket is about quality. So you get to have consistent data across the board. And then when you have data that's consistent, you can also trust it, right? And then you can build better reports and have increased user adoption. The last bucket is about growth. So in the end, you do have better decision support, you do increase your customer satisfaction, and what matters to all companies is to sell more and sell faster. Now, why is it important? Why do we need to integrate systems in general? First of all, it streamlines your business and sales processes, right? So you get to have data consistency across the systems. So everything is in both systems. You get to have real-time data synchronization. So everything that's in your ERP, for example, will also be in your CRM or any other system that you have there. And then, of course, it will improve decision-making and productivity, which is really important. So the teams will be able to focus on things that really matter. And speaking of that, then you will reduce or eliminate data silos, any manual processes, manual work in general, and you can get rid of those communication gaps. In the end, you do enhance the overall customer experience, and everything is definitely much better. Now, the next section is about Rapidi and our data integration solutions. As I mentioned before, we do want to make sure that the entire process, the integration itself, is easy and straightforward for any customer that we have. And that being said, Rapidi is an innovative iPaaS platform, so we focus on simplicity. And when we say simplicity, we refer to design, installation, and use. Rapidi is a cloud integration system that will provide you with out-of-the-box pre-configured templates that you can use to quickly integrate any systems. Of course, we have pre-configured templates because we want you to have a good start. However, anything that's custom can be also configured and implemented. We do have extensive experience when it comes to integrating the Microsoft Dynamics products and Salesforce, but our work is not limited to that. We definitely we keep expanding our portfolio, and we continue to work on other type of projects and integrations. And I think the idea is to integrate your systems so then you become more successful, your data is correct in both systems, and all the teams will be focusing on their priorities and things that matter. Speaking of our most common endpoints in the systems that we can integrate, here on the screen you will see this list. However, we can definitely work with any other systems that exist on the market. But as you can see here, we can work with any Microsoft Dynamics products, CRMs such as Salesforce, HubSpot, and also the Microsoft Sales CRM. We can work with any SQL database, with Oracle, with we have now Shopify, we have BigQuery, or any other product or systems that exist on the market. Of course, if your system is not here on the list, it doesn't mean that we cannot work with it. We just need to know what the system is, how we would connect to it, and how we would integrate it. I think we have plenty of options to integrate other systems as well. And to just have a summary of that, when it comes to Rapidi and what it offers, we talk about data integration. So I've mentioned the Microsoft Dynamics ERPs that can be integrated with other CRMs such as HubSpot, Salesforce, or the D365 Sales CRM. And of course, here we can talk about integrations that can happen between HubSpot and Business Central. It can be Salesforce to any Microsoft Dynamics ERPs, or even between the Microsoft Dynamics products, or we can talk about the Business Central ERP that can be integrated with D365 Sales, which is the Microsoft CRM. And of course, we also talk about data replication. Here I'm referring to those integrations that can happen between, let's say, ERPs. So you have multiple instances, so you also want to replicate your data between those instances. So we also have this quite often. We have also the possibility to integrate via REST API, and many other options are available. But of course, we will need to know which are your systems and how you plan to integrate it. Now, starting with this part, we will focus more on the HubSpot and the Microsoft Dynamics 365 ERP integration. So we will go through this type of integration. And of course, when it comes to HubSpot and Business Central, we want to mention that Rapidi is an iPaaS with no staging of your data. So in case you want to configure this type of integration or any other, then it's very easy to be set up and configured. You don't really need any type of technical experience. You can connect multiple systems, instances, companies, so there's no limitation there. And you can transfer any type of data. It can be standard, custom, any type of anything that needs to be synchronized between two systems. And of course, Our subscriptions are all inclusive in our services, so you get the whole package from the very beginning and you know exactly what's included for you. Now, we'll talk more about HubSpot in Microsoft Dynamics 365 ERPs, in this case, Business Central. So, of course, this would be the standard templates or setup that we have right now. But of course, this is not restricted or limited in any way. It can be adjusted, customized according to your needs. So as you can see in HubSpot, there are specific standard objects which can be mapped to the Business Central tables or fields. So if we are talking about standard setup in general, we have companies, contacts, products, and then prices, and then of course deals, which can be converted into sales orders, order updates, invoices, and any objects that you might have in your HubSpot instance. Of course, if you're talking about moving away, let's say, from Salesforce to HubSpot, that's also something that can be achieved. But of course, we'll go through the steps later on. It's important to know your plan in terms of the integration setup and what exactly you want to synchronize between those systems. Here we have the quote to cash example. So usually we have the lead, which is qualified, and then we have the quote, which is accepted, and then we have the company in HubSpot that can be sent over to Business Central as a customer. Then we have the contact. Again, you can transfer the same contact into Business Central, and the deal that you have created can be transferred to Business Central as a sales order, and you can send order updates between those two systems, and then of course transfer the sales invoices that you have available. And apart from the example here, we also have products and prices that you can also synchronize if need be, and any other custom objects or tables that you might have and you want to synchronize. Now, when we talk about Business Central in HubSpot, there are some things that happen, right, when you configure the integration. So if you were to say, I'm integrating standard data, nothing custom, then perfect. However, if you have something that's very customized, it's also something that can be achieved via our platform. So when it comes to how things are being set up, the first, of course, you have here a couple of steps. So you have data mapping and transformations. So you have to know exactly the data that you want to send over. And then you have the actions, how you want this to happen. Do you want to create new records? Do you want to update? And then you have link storages or lookup tables that allow you to store the unique IDs of your records. So here we have step number 1, which is really important, and that is to create the connection. So when you want to connect to HubSpot, you simply authorize it from the Rapidi platform, and then that's it. It's a very simple and fast process, so you don't need to do anything special about it. When it comes to Business Central, however, it's a slightly different process, and there are different ways to connect to Business Central, and that's something that will need to be dealt with separately. That's why I mentioned here that we have our wiki page where you can find all the steps and decide which method works for you. So once you have the connection set up, then you have to decide what you want to do. Do you want to create new records, in any of those systems? Do you want to update them? Do you want to do both at the same time? Or maybe you want to, you want to delete, for example, right? So you can decide what you want to do. And it's important to be clear about those specific actions. So once you have decided what you want to do, then you go to the next step, which is adding the fields into the mapping. We already have the pre-built, the templates, the mappings there, but those can be adjusted. So you can add more to it. You can expand them and make sure that they contain everything that you need. Once you have added everything, both for HubSpot and for Business Central, then you are good to go. It means that your mapping is completed. And then another step, which is not mandatory, is just one optional step that you can go through if you want to. So here you can configure link storages, which are lookup tables. Basically here you can configure this lookup tables to actually get the unique IDs of those records that are being transferred. So if you're sending companies from HubSpot to Business Central, then you can record the HubSpot ID of that company and the Business Central number of the company that has been created. So that would be the unique IDs that belong to that specific company, and they will be automatically added here on this list. So this is not something that's manually maintained, so you don't really have to do anything with it. When the transfer runs, it will automatically update the list and add more to it if there is a new company created, for example. Then we have, of course, once you are done with that, you can set up schedules and you can see how data is being transferred. So when you set up a schedule, you just have to have a description, have the frequency, priority, and how often you want to be notified. So schedules are important because you do want to run your transfers on a specific frequency and make sure that the data is going into the destination system in a timely manner. And of course, when we talk about any integration, not just this one, HubSpot and Business Central, you do have to keep in mind some best practices. So the first one is to define your scope. So you have to be very clear about what you want to do and have a clear understanding of the business process behind it. And then second, you have to think about using timestamp fields, meaning those fields that record the date and time when a record has been created or modified. All systems have it, but in some situations, those are not natively supported. So then some work is required. Of course, timestamps are very important because then you will be able to synchronize everything correctly. And then the third point is about your integration plan. Make sure that you have a data validation process. So whenever you go through testing and UAT, you have all your steps outlined and you know what you want to do during that phase. And of course, troubleshooting. During testing, you'll get errors, and then you have to think about, okay, who is going to do that, how we address this type of errors, and what would be the action. And the last point is contingency plan. So if something goes wrong, it can happen. And then you have to think about plan B and what would you do if something does not go as expected. Then we'll go through Rapidi's key functionalities. We covered some of them before, but we'll just go through them one by one. So the first one is data mapping and transformation, real-time synchronization, customization scalability, automated workflows, security measures, and monitoring in analytics. So we talked a bit about data mapping and transformation. Of course, on any integration, you are able to map and transform data without any huge effort, and you can do that between the Microsoft ERPs and HubSpot. But if you have other systems, then that would work as well. And we do have support for custom data fields. So if you are using custom fields, custom objects, you are definitely welcome to use them. So you have flexibility to just use whatever you have in the system and map those to your field or objects from the destination system. And we do offer intuitive data mapping interface, so you can customize, update your data flows or transfers at any point in time. Then a very important aspect would be the real-time synchronization. So you do want to make sure that everything is up to date. So via an integration, you get all the information into the destination system on time. So whatever you have in your ERP, you also have it in HubSpot and the other way around. So then you'll get immediate updates, and then you will know that everything is the same in both systems. So this means that you will no longer have data latency, and you'll have definitely an improved decision-making process. And customization scalability. Of course, you can customize anything that you have configured, so you're not limited or restricted to what you have. Even though you get those pre-built templates, it doesn't mean that you have to use them as it is, and that's it. you can use them as a starting point and then you adjust it, or you can make sure that they actually reflect your business process. So we do provide scalability for any type of business of all sizes. So it doesn't really matter if you're a very small company or a huge enterprise. And then customization is provided based on your specific needs. And of course, when you have an integration ongoing, then you get to have everything being automated. So then you streamline your business processes. You don't really have repetitive tasks. You really reduce or eliminate manual tasks or efforts, and you minimize errors. And in the end, you get flexibility. You can customize any data. You can actually make any changes as long as they match your business requirements. And of course, security measures, which are really important. So we are committed to data security, compliance. So we want to make sure that everybody is very comfortable about the safety of their data. So we always want to make sure that we have the right encryption protocols, access controls, and many other security features. And monitoring and analytics. So we do have monitoring and analytics tools that allow you to track the integration performance. So it will give you insight into how things are going. So then you also get to see this overview of your integration, and at the same time identify any possible issues, bottlenecks, any performance issues. So that will give you the possibility to actually find the root cause and optimize your current processes. And of course, now we want to go through the Rapidi functionalities, just some of them, not all of them. So we'll have here, so this part, we have data flow actions. I talked about this a bit. So here, whenever you want to set up an integration, you have to think about the action, what you want to do via this integration. So this refers to what we should do. Do we create a record? Do we update? Do we delete? What do we need to do? So then once that's clear, then the integration platform will do that for you, and will create new records, update them, and anything that you need. And of course, there's a really interesting functionalities, which is the write back fields. So this is really useful when you really want to have the, let's say, unique IDs of every record. So for example, we have the store new ID field. This is a functionality that will allow you to store the ID of a newly created record into the source system. So you have, let's say, a customer in Business Central, you want to send that over to HubSpot, it gets created in HubSpot. And as you know, in HubSpot, any record will get this unique ID, so the HubSpot ID. So that's something that can be written back into Business Central and have that reference. So this is a way to actually get this external reference for that specific customer, and then you can use it on your integration if you need to. And then you have transferred field, which will allow you to write a timestamp, let's say timestamp value, the date and time, into the source table on each transferred record. So this is, again, it works like like a check on any type of record. So if you send one customer from Business Central to HubSpot, the customer gets created, and then this transfer field will actually write the date and time right when the record was created. So it gives you this like second confirmation that the record is created, and this is the time and date when this happened. So this is really important for those that really need to have this confirmation in place. And of course, we have another functionality, which is called tags. So tags, this would be parameters or variables that you set up for a specific connection or for a specific transfer. It has many purposes, but I think the most common one is the one where you have multiple companies in Business Central, and you do want to run everything via the same transfer, right? So as you know, in Business Central, you need to have a separate instance for each of your companies. And then, of course, you want to transfer data from all of them. In order to do that, you would use tag, define a parameter for each of those companies, and then the transfer will become a master transfer that will synchronize everything and will send the data for all those companies. So this happens because, of course, Business Central has this setup in place, and you do need to make sure that you send data from all your companies into HubSpot or any other system. So just to have like a conclusion, so Rapidi will offer data integration solutions between major ERP and CRM applications, right? Because right now we talk about the Microsoft Dynamics products and CRM such as Salesforce, HubSpot, but of course other systems such as NetSuite, Oracle, SQL databases that can be integrated. So what Rapidi offers is a cost-effective model. So the integration via the platform is possible for any cloud and on-premise systems. So it's easy with cloud systems, but not that easy with on-premise ones. So in our case, we do have a lot of experience integrating on-premise systems. And we do have robust development tools, the pre-built mapping templates that you can definitely use, and it's approachable for non-IT users. So you don't really need to go through training, or you don't really need to go through this learning curve to be able to handle the integration. And the last point, but a very important one, is that you can manage everything post-go live without specialized IT resources. I think that's it. Back to you, Serene.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Before I go to the next section, I see a question in the chat. Ryan, we will be coming to answer your question very quickly. I'll just finish this section and then we'll go to the questions. So yes, so I would like to highlight what you get as a Rapidi customer. So Rapidi is an all-inclusive investment model because you get access to the integration platform, the integration templates, and also the support. When it comes to the integration platform, it comes with integration configuration. You have access to advanced data toolbox, log and notifications. You get access to monitoring and to the Rapidi connector. When we talk about integration templates, they are complete business processes, already pre-configured, come with the best practices. They are totally customizable and come with detailed documentation. Regarding support, it's included in the subscription, as Andrea mentioned before. It helps you to maintain the integration. You can add fields to existing transfer. You get access to integration advisory, and of course, you can resolve data errors. And next section before the question, so the customer testimonials. So at Rapidi, we are proud to announce that we have achieved the exceptional 5-star average on major IT vendor platforms such as Salesforce, AppExchange, Gartner Digital, and others. And we also maintain the 5 stars average regarding our support. And here we have a quote of Lily Chen from Diamond Watts International, where she's explaining how we provided a wonderful solution and that we have the best customer service ever, and of course recommending Rapidi. And of course, we have the privilege to serve satisfied customers worldwide through various industries, and we took 2 quotes today from 2 different companies so that you can see just as an example. So the first one is from Aaron Rankin. He's the sales enablement engineer at Sunvise Power and Battery. So Sunvise is a company from the US. They are manufacturers of remote power system components. And here they mentioned that Rapidi provided great customer service and support. We helped them implement their CRM to their ERP, and they highlight the fact that the implementation team were extremely helpful and responsive to their request. And since implementation, the system have been working flawlessly. And second quote is from Justin Liu, who is the marketing and product manager at Norsat International. So Norsat International is a company from Canada. They are a leading provider of innovative communication solution that enable transmission of data. And they mentioned that Rapidi are very professional and offer an excellent service, and that we help them to set up the connection between their ERP and CRM, and the service is very reliable with short response time. So while they keep adding more transfers, Rapidi specialists are being professional and responsive, and they are, of course, recommending us as your system integrator. And lastly, I would like to explain how you can get started with us. It's really easy. You only need to visit our website and fill in the contact form with your contact information, whether you're interested for a partnership or you have any integration project. And of course, we will be answering you as fast as we can and schedule an introduction call to get to know you and know your project. And then whenever we decide to start working together, this is what we call the 5-phase approach that we use for our implementation process to make sure that everything is going smoothly. So of course, we would start with the discovery, which is the integration project scope validation and project kickoff. Then we would go to the onboarding, which is basically onboarding you into our Rapidi platform and Basecamp that we use as an online collaboration platform. Then we would move to configuration, which is the integration configuration on Rapidi platform, of course, and the end user testing. And then we will have the deploy to production, which is the initial data synchronization, upload of historical data, the actual cutover, of course, to the production environment. And last step would be the transition to support, which is the post-go live support. Here we have the project closure and transition to the operational support. And that's it. And now time for the questions. Of course, we will start with the Ryan question in the chat. So Ryan is asking quick question. So on sync between sales orders in Business Center and orders in HubSpot, when the order comes over to HubSpot, is it associated to a contact or to a deal?
So as you know, in HubSpot, there are a lot of associations that you can make. So if you send one sales order from BC to HubSpot, you can associate that with a contact, with a company, with a deal, and I think other objects as well. So I think it's up to you what you need. So if you need to send a sales order into HubSpot and have that associated with a specific contact, then we can do that, as long as there is this association available on the HubSpot side.
Awesome, Andrea. Okay, now I will be moving to the questions, the most common question that we normally get. And Ryan, if you have any other question, please feel free to write it in the chat and we will go through all of your doubts. So, Andrea, why should we choose Rapidi integration platform instead of using other standard integration tools?
Okay, so here, first of all, is from our side, you get transparency over everything that's included in your specific contract. So here I'm referring to the actual cost, what's included. The scope of the integration is very clearly defined, so you know exactly what we have there, and also support, right, which is included in any contract. Whereas there are different other standard integration tools that provide the same services, but might not include certain aspects such as support or any customization, for example. So you have to definitely make sure that in those situations you do have everything clarified and everything written down correctly. And in our case, for example, we do offer our customers post-go-live support, so they can reach out to our specialized support anytime, whereas other standard integration tools provide support, but that would be separate usually, and that would be, let's say, an additional cost for you. So usually the assumption is that everything is included, but it's not. So that's why we say, in our case, we're transparent from the very beginning. You know exactly what's included, and you will not have any type of surprises afterwards. And then another thing is that we do, so as I've mentioned before, we have the pre-built templates that we offer to our customers, because those are a good starting point. It allows you to actually kick off everything faster. However, even though you have those mapping templates, you're not restricted to use only what's included in those templates. You can adjust them, you can expand them, you can add custom fields, you can do whatever you need. Whereas other standard integration tools will provide you with, let's say, standard integrations, meaning this specific standard template for your integration, but you will not be able to do much about it if you need to add more fields, if you have any type of custom fields or custom objects. So when it says standard, basically you have to stick to standard and only what's included in there. So that's a big difference, because in our case, we do want to provide flexibility. So you get the standard templates, but we do not tell you, oh, you cannot add anything else. It's locked, and that's it. End of story. You can use them and add more to them. So it's and I think that's definitely an advantage for a lot of companies. And of course, like I mentioned before, we do provide support, lifetime support, so customers can reach out at any point in time. So you get the right SLAs in place, and you get response in a timely manner. And someone that has the right expertise will be able to help you and guide you through any errors, issues that you might have with your current integration.
Awesome, Andrea. Thank you. Okay, next question. So how to set up your data integration project in 3 steps?
So first of all, I think we covered a bit when we went through the HubSpot and Business Central integration. So first and foremost, make sure you can connect to them. Of course, whenever we connect systems, any customer has our support. So we either do that together, where we do it for them, but you have to have the right permissions to connect to those systems. Once you are connected, then you have to make sure you have the mapping in place, right? So everything has to be mapped, and then make sure that the systems talk to each other, in the sense that once you have the mapping and the connection, you are able to transfer data, and everything is sent over from one place to another.
Okay, great. Okay, how to ensure the best data mapping?
Yeah, so here, I think it's really important to know your data and how it's being configured, and the overall structure of your data in the systems. So if you have one of the systems which is very restrictive in the sense that all the fields have like a pick list or a drop-down list or a limitation in length or data type, then you need to have the same thing in the other system, right? So if you want to have everything restricted, you do it in both systems. If you want to let it loose, then you can do that and have it the same in both systems. But make sure that there is definitely a match between your ERP and your CRM. So that's really important. And if there are discrepancies in terms of data type, for example, so let's say you have in one of the systems you have data type string, right? And then in the other one you have number, or I don't know, something very specific, then that would become a problem because data would not be converted correctly. So yeah, make sure you have those. Make sure that you have that match between the systems in terms of the data type and any restrictions that you might have in any of the systems. Make sure that you mirror that into the other system.
Okay, thank you. Next question. So why it's best to be prepared when handling errors?
So I think it's really important to start doing this from the very beginning. So from the moment you start going through UAT, because you will get prepared for the live environment. Of course, it doesn't mean that in the live environment you will be flooded with error messages, but it's more like being familiar with it and being able to understand what that error means and how to handle it. as people know in general, when you talk about integrations, 90% or more of those errors are data-related errors. So they really have to do with your data and how it has, the way it has been inputted into the system. So you do need to know exactly, okay, what do I do in this situation? Where do I fix this? Where do I go? And, what would be the next step? So doing that from, the early stages of UAT testing, then you have plenty of time to understand and go through them. And then when you go into production, and if for some reason you get similar errors, then you will be comfortable with that, and you will be able to handle them correctly.
Clear. Okay. So, which systems does Rapidi support?
So I think here we had this separate slide and we talked about it, but I think it's important to mention that we do work with a lot of systems, and we do try to also build support for those systems that we haven't worked with yet. So I think we are in this phase when we really want to make sure that we can integrate newer systems or systems that become more popular and that are being really used in any country. The idea is that if we have, if you look at the list that we presented earlier, and you say, oh, but the system that I have, it's not here, so probably you don't support it. Well, in that particular situation, you can simply reach out to us and say, okay, I have the system. This is how we would connect to it. Can you do it? So I think it's just one question you can ask, and then we can just provide you with our feedback and tell you what we would do in that particular situation. Of course, we do want to make sure that we work with as many systems as possible, but we need to get all that feedback from our customers first.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Do you support custom objects?
Yeah. So of course, when we talk about pre-built templates or standard mappings, then you get to think that this is limited to standard objects or tables or fields, and there's really no room for any customization. In our case, however, there is plenty of room for customization, so you can get the mapping templates as they are and then adjust them. And for example, if you say, but in HubSpot I have this many custom objects that I'm using, so I don't want to use the standard one, so that's fine. You can use it as it is, and then just adjust the mapping, add the new field that you have in the other custom object, and you can send that information over to Business Central or any other system that that you have. So there's no, when it comes to how many custom objects can you use, how many fields, there's really no limitation, because it really it has to do with your current business process, how much data you want to send, and how much information basically you want to have, you want to transfer over to any of those systems. So yeah, just feel free to use a custom object if that's something that you use, and if you have like a very highly customized instance, then that's fine, because I think from our point of view, it's just a matter of having access to it. So as long as I can see that custom object, I can access that via the connection that you have in Rapidi, then that's completely okay. We can use it and then just have the mapping done, and then you're good to go.
Awesome, Andrea. Okay. Last question, unless we get some more in the chat. So why should we choose Rapidi integration platform instead of building integration by ourselves?
Yeah, so here I think, well, I think we got this question at some point, but in the end, I think for any person, it's like a personal choice. So, or maybe companies that really want to invest a lot into building something that's in-house, and that makes sense. However, if you want to save time, if you want to save costs, if you really don't want to put a lot of effort and resources into this, then you can use Rapidi, because Rapidi has proven to work. Everything runs fine. You don't have any issues. So you can use it as it is, and then you'll have your setup completely, done. So you don't really have to spend months, if not years, building something in-house. However, like I said before, if you within the company you have the resources, you really want to invest a lot in it, and there's no hurry, but you are keen on having something in-house, then you can do that. But I think in today's world, I think we all want to be efficient. We want to make sure that things are done fast, right? We want to save cost at all. We really want to make sure that we don't spend too much time or money on something. Mm-hmm. And then then you go for a platform such as Rapidi. But again, I think we have a lot of success stories with so many customers. So in our case, we can support any type of integration, and that's something that it's cost effective and it has proven to work 100%.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so as we covered up today's webinar, I would like to thank you for attending or rewatching. As Andrea mentioned, you can check all the case stories, success stories, visiting our websites. You can see that we have detailed solution overviews and informative fact sheets, of course, and comprehensive documentation about anything. And if you still have any doubt, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be more than happy to answer all of your doubts. And of course, we'll be happy to get your feedback. You will see the link here in the chat. We will also be sharing shortly after today's session. You'll receive an email with all of these slides and also the link. And as I mentioned, we will be happy to know what you think about the webinar. If you have any suggestion about other topics or anything, we'll be happy to know about it and include it for next sessions. And don't forget to follow us through our social media channels, and you will see that we share all of the webinars on LinkedIn, and you can see the topic, and whatever you're interested in, you can register, or of course, if you're not available at that moment, you can rewatch. And that's it. Thank you very much. We hope to see you soon, and have a good one. Bye-bye.